We have with us Katarzyna Ternacka, the environmental art director.
Hi.
And we have game designer Michal Dudziak.
Hello.
So, choices and consequences. The player has to make a choice and they have to experience or endure the consequences. What does that mean?
Basically, the whole system of choices and consequences is really complex. I would say the best way to describe it is that the player is making the decisions based on 3 layers. First one are the choices that you do during the main story missions. And those big changes can change the whole game or even how the story ends. The second layer are choices that you do while the quests. And those choices can actually influence the mission itself. And the last layer is so-called city alignment system. And I, as an open world game designer, would like to focus on.
Please do, go on.
All right, so water and electricity are basically a key to survive in every world. Mm-hmm. By restoring it, player can not only unlock the water or electricity in the area, but he can also, based on his decision, assign it to one of the factions, which will influence how the district looks like or who's going to live inside of it. But it also, what is pretty more important for a player, unlock new tools for him, like unique tools for each factions, like car traps, zip lines, or a trampoline, that player can use in exploration to deal with bandits or infected, or simply to move faster through the city. So basically, based on your choices, you shape the game environment, which gives you a different experience every time you start a new game. And what is worth mentioning here that Dying Light 2 is playable up to 4 co-op players. So you can host the game or join other players and see how their choices came up differently to your own.
Right.
Interesting.
There's one thing I'm really curious about, though. Night versus day. How does the gameplay differ from the night and the day?
Well, the short answer is that day is for humans and night is for the monsters. But to describe it a little bit better, I would say that during the day, humans, factions, bandits or survivors scavenging the city and searching for some scraps or someone who might have them. And this is the best time for a player to explore the city, meet its citizens, learn the stories, day-to-day agenda, or even simply help them in a quest or open world activities to survive those dark ages.
Yeah, and that sounds quite pleasant, but I'm guessing night changes everything.
Exactly. During the night, all the infected get out of the buildings. And compared to the Dying Light 1, the night is going to be even more intense this time. Intense in terms of the amount of enemies, their new types, and new, more aggressive behaviors. And what is important, this time night can mean also opportunity. An opportunity for the players who are courage and skilled enough to use the fact that all the infected are outside and buildings are accessible to explore them and search for the most valuable loot in the game.
Katarzyna, you're responsible for the post-apocalyptic look of the city. Can you tell us a little bit how about the city became to look that way?
Yes. I guess the important thing to realize is in 2025, a decision was made to use a chemical attack to stop the spread of the Haran virus. And the result is a tight ring of chemically active areas around the city. Some of the chemicals have gotten into the groundwater and spread under the surface, killing every living plant and every living thing in its reach. What it means for the city is that the street levels are virtually dead. The soil is unable to sustain any life, any plant, and the street level is a domain of the monsters, just decaying in every aspect.
Wow, so it sounds like there's just no healthy organic life down there at all.
Not really. The survival on the street level is pretty tough. So the common people are just visitors there. But the life prevailed. It moved up to the rooftops. And this is where the plants are flourishing and blooming in the post-apocalyptic landscape. And this is where people build and develop the new world of Dying Light 2, electricity producing windmills and safe zones for the player. And in a way, in a metaphorical sense, the rooftops are the new default ground floor, the level 0, and trip to the streets is, in a way, a trip underground, a -1 of sorts, just a corpse of a lost civilization.
Intense.
Yeah, to say the least. I can't imagine being a citizen living in that city, let alone being a player, and how challenging that's going to be.
Yeah, and hold that thought. Thank you very much for joining us today.